2 years ago, Last of Us. It was 2 years ago that Last of Us Part 2 came out, right? Am I wrong on that
I
too? Shit.
think so. I'm not 100%
All
sure.
right. Let's do our. Uh.
2020.
Okay, 2 years. Woo. Okay. And Valhalla. Oh my God. Look at that. Okay, so it was 2 years ago where The Last of Us Part 2 came out. If you recall what happened when it first came out, is that a month before it was released, the whole game got leaked. Gameplay video, story details, character details, twists, everything. Everything got leaked, which could have contributed to it. It did good sales, but a lot of people thought it could have done a bit better if it weren't for the leaks that happened. Well, it turned out this week the remake of 1 got leaked as well on the internet. Video and gameplay footage was being shown of the Part 1 remake, and as much as people say it does look pretty, they are kind of lukewarm on what they saw. Basically, we had the people who were annoyed with they're using the same animations, which yeah, okay, fine. But doesn't look like there's any gameplay enhancements. It just looks like they just prettied it up and released it on the PS5. Zero, I don't know if you saw the leaks or if you just heard about them. What did you think about? What were your feelings when you heard about the leaks for Part 1 of The Last of Us?
It was my thoughts were more really. I didn't really think that there was much clamoring for The Last of Us, but
Yeah.
here we are. And at the same time, I did see a lot of jokes of people making the meme of they're pulling a Bethesda or they're pulling a Rockstar with remaking Last of Us 1. It's just like what happened with Skyrim. It's just like what happened with Grand Theft Auto 5. So, I mean, those memes were flying pretty hard for the initial leak.
Right. And you know what? I actually agree with those memes and that criticism. Let me be clear. The story and characters I really liked out of the first Last of Us. I couldn't stand the gameplay. I couldn't stand playing it. I was not having fun playing the game at all. But I suffered through, I think, 3/4 of the game until I was like, you know what? I'm done. It's like, the story is good. I like the characters, but nah, I'm not playing this anymore. So I was not going to buy this anyway. But yeah, when they showed it off at Summer Games Fest in June, we were on the phone together when we saw it. First, we were surprised that was the closing game of the show, which was like, okay, a remake, okay. But the other thing was like, yeah, it looks pretty, but it doesn't look real pretty. It doesn't look like gorgeous. It looks about as good as the remaster from PS4. Maybe that's not fair. It's a little bit better than the PS4 remaster. So I looked at that when you're gonna have people pay $70 for this game without the DLC and without the multiplayer. That seems like a shit deal. And of course, you had Sony diehards who were like, "Oh no, like they're what Naughty Dog would say is, oh, we're building the game from the ground up to be played on the PS5." Well, apparently, from the ground up pretty much means a fresh coat of paint, because they use the same they essentially use the same engine. They've used the same animations. But they've gussied up the visuals. Is basically what happened. So yeah, and for people now to be like, oh, this is it. This is all that they're doing. I was kind of surprised by that, because that's all they've shown. they've made no illusions that they're updating gameplay or they're basically, I guess, doing new animations or they're doing new gameplay changes to mirror what happened in The Last of Us Part 2. So I was surprised by that a little bit, to be completely honest with you, Zero.
Yeah, and of course, the story gets funnier too, because of course, uh, I think it was late last week or early this week, Sony finally put out a YouTube video of just how the Last of Us 1 remake was being built from the ground up and everything, and of course, all of a sudden, the die-hard PlayStation cheerleaders suddenly got cold feet, and
Yep.
it was just, oh, well, wow, that doesn't look very substantial. You
No.
know, I thought I was gonna get it, but ooh, ooh. I think I might change my mind. I might wait for a sale,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was really funny to see.
Right. Which let's okay. So if I had a favorite, like let's say I had, what's a favorite game I played, whatever. Just choose any game that you thoroughly enjoyed, okay? And they're saying, "Oh, guess what? We're remaking it." Oh, great, cool. What are you doing different with it? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? Oh, it's gonna look prettier. Oh, so it's a remaster? No, it's a remake. Well, what are you doing different? Nothing. It's like, you would look at that and go, but then that's a remaster. It's not a remake. And this is basically what it was. It was just another remaster of the game. It's just got prettier visuals. They may have used a new engine for the graphics. I think they updated the engine, I believe, for The Last of Us Part 2. But let's be honest, and the criticism has been said since it first was announced and the footage was shown, this is a cash grab. And it's a specific cash grab because they want people to have the new game and the new system for when the TV show comes out. I think this is what this is. The TV show is probably going to be announced to be coming in HBO probably early next year. And they want that game to be on PS5 so they can remember it and they can be reminded that, oh, that game that you bought on PS5, there's a TV show. That's the whole reason I think this was being made and why this is being released. So, yeah, God, the fact that people are shocked by this, I guess that's the thing that shocks me the most by why people are so surprised that this is not a substantial quote-unquote remake. And I think the problem was they called it a remake. Because when you think remake, you think, let's say near what's the near remake that they incarceration and incantation? I don't know. Anyway, like you expect with a remake substantial gameplay changes or balance changes when you do a remake. When you do a remaster, it's a coat of paint, maybe fix a few bugs, and you're releasing it on a new system. That's it. This is a remaster. It's a pretty remaster, don't get me wrong, but it's a remaster. And I think they couldn't justify saying that they're doing a PS5 remaster of The Last of Us 1 without... so they had to call it a remake. I think this is a lesson in semantics when it comes to PR. Because if this was called a remaster, like it should have been, I think much less people would have been excited for it.
Yeah. And to your point about Nier, the Nier remake was Nier Replicant with a whole bunch of numbers appended to it. So.
Okay.
But yeah, just overall, just this really just seemed like a remaster in the laziest way possible. So that really wasn't a great way to sort of sell people on it. And then I think the worst offense is the fact that it's a whopping $70.
Yes, it's ridiculous. and the fact that the DLC from the first game isn't included. Apparently, they're going to sell that as well. So you're going to have to spend an extra, I'm going to guess, $20 on that DLC. And then they're releasing the multiplayer that came with the first Last of Us as a separate game. That will probably be $70. So yeah, it is pure through and through a cash grab. To me at least, is my feeling. So I think the criticism of it being a cash grab is completely justified in this. Like, I think when people say that, it fits. Like, I understand the criticism, and it fits in this version. So yeah, that's my thoughts, at least. Do you think it's a cash grab?
Yeah, I mean, $70 is a stiff ask, and then that's on
Yes.
top of just missing a whole bunch of stuff that came with the original release.
Yep.
So, already a bad start as it is.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just you have God, the fact that just the stuff is being split up, which that's just bad overall. Just
Right.
splitting up stuff that came stock with the game, that's just a terrible look. It really just makes you look greedy.
Yeah.
So that's another point where I take issue with as well. Just so that's really the two main bits that sort of get my goat on this one. But yeah, just overall, I just don't know how anyone thought that this was a great idea to market the game like this. It's oof, woof, holy cow.
I don't think
Just-
Naughty Dog realizes how divisive The Last of Us Part 2 was. Yes, it won Game of the year it came out. But even when it did, I know a lot of people online groaned at it, because not many people were like, there was a large enough contingency who were fans of the first one who were not happy with the second one. Like, they did not like it at all. Like, they had numerous issues. Yes, some of them were ideological, and that's silly. I will say that right off the bat. But some also had problems with gameplay. Some also, despite the fact they didn't care about the ideological stuff, they didn't like the story too much. And yeah, it just, I think The Last of Us Part 2 got a lot of sales from the popularity of the first one. And despite the leaks, people gave it a shot anyway. But Last of Us Part 2 isn't one where I see a lot of quote-unquote gamers saying that they absolutely loved it. There's a contingency. There is, absolutely. But it's not a majority like, say, Ghost of Tsushima. Or, what's another game? Like Spider-Man. Like, everybody agrees to a certain extent that those are great games. The Last of Us Part 2 is more divisive. So I think they just thought they would get away with it because they thought their brand was golden, not realizing that they kind of tarnished their brand a little from the last one.
Yeah, personally, if they sold it for about like $40, I think people would have just clamored to go pick it up.
Yeah.
Just because at that point it'd been like, yeah, sure, it's missing a few features. Yeah, sure, it's missing the multiplayer stuff, but it's $40, whatever.
Right, and it would make selling the DLC separate kind of okay. Like, it would be like, oh, the DLC's not here. I'll be that back. Okay, I guess if I like it, I'll pay an extra $10 for it. It's still 40, so yeah, okay, I could justify that. Now, nope. I don't. And honestly, if it were $40, even though I didn't like the gameplay, I probably would have picked it up and said, "Hey, maybe I'll give it another shot." And then played it. Went, nope, not. Still don't like it. And well, they got my $40. Oh well. So yeah, I suspect this is going to hurt sales again. I think it's going to hurt sales more than it did the Last of Us Part 2, though. Does it mean it's going to bomb? No. I think that the sales projections that they're looking for, which they haven't announced what they are, to be fair, I think they probably had sales projections that were going to be generous. I think they're going to have to taper that down now because the discourse around the Last of Us One remake is actually getting kind of negative. So yeah, I'll. Any more thoughts on that?
No, other than best of luck to them on trying to hit those sales numbers because I don't think that whatever sales numbers that they had in mind are going to be reachable.
No, I don't think. I agree with you there. I think it's. I think separating everything into pieces was a bad idea. On top of charging $70 for the game, so